Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, Israeli Defense Forces are moving forward into southern Gaza. And officials with one of the largest youth organizations in the country has announced they are changing the group's name.
Plus, we are tracking another severe weather chance tomorrow and cooler weather for this weekend. Those details coming up as Mountain News at 5:30 starts now.
Dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Most of us are getting a break from the storms right now, but the threat is not over. Our first alert weather day will continue at least through tomorrow. Meteorologist Cameron Aaron joins us now with more on what to expect. Cameron.
Yes, Steve, we are watching out for two different threats for severe weather this week, one through this evening, and that threat should fade away shortly after midnight. But another threat is on the way tomorrow, and that Wednesday threat may be a little bit higher. A level 3 enhanced risk is on the way tomorrow. That threat for the evening hours, pushing into the overnight hours as well, from 4 p.m. through 4 a.m. on Wednesday. All modes of severe weather are on the table, so be sure that you have multiple ways to receive warnings and you keep up with the forecast as we go into your Wednesday. Right now on First Alert Pinpoint Doppler, one storm has my attention close to Buckhorn and Perry County. Some heavier showers, some thunder, some lightning over parts of Perry County, pushing into northern Leslie County. A first alert for southern Breathitt County. This is pushing into your direction over the next few minutes there. For all of us, a level 2 slight risk of severe weather is in place. So we could see a few more showers and storms this evening. Not everyone will see severe weather. The better chance for that this evening will stay to our north and west over northern and western Kentucky. But again, maybe a small chance of a pop-up thunderstorm or two as we go into this evening. But tomorrow, a higher risk is on the way. All of us have a level 3 enhanced risk of severe weather. Lows are mild to wake up in the morning. Most of us see middle to upper 60s. And again, a few more spotty showers or thunderstorms are possible overnight. But another threat for severe weather is on the way by tomorrow. Those details coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Cameron, thank you. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he has ordered the military to begin operations in the southern Gaza city of Rafah. Israel says it is necessary to secure the freedom of hostages still being held by Hamas. But the U.S. opposes a large military operation there, saying too many innocent civilians will die as a result. CBS's Skylar Henry has more from the White House.
The Israeli army released this video showing its tanks rolling into the border crossing connecting the southern Gaza city of Rafah and Egypt.
This does look like the prelude of a major military operation. We have not yet seen that operation commence.
Rafah is Hamas's last stronghold, and some families of Israeli hostages say they're worried a full-scale military operation will endanger their loved ones.
We watch in horror as the military operation in Rafah unfolds.
Israel has warned civilians in parts of Rafah to flee, but the U.S. says Israel has not done enough to protect the more than 1 million Palestinians taking refuge in the city. CBS News has confirmed the U.S. has postponed the delivery of some ammunition to Israel, with one official saying that the holdup is designed to send a message about the Biden administration's opposition to the Rafah operation.
A major military operation would put at risk civilian lives. Anything that puts at risk civilian lives within Rafah is something that we are not supportive of.
House Speaker Mike Johnson accused Biden of politicizing the aid, which he says is needed.
Trying to defend their nation against the threats that are facing them. And now I think it's very important that we deliver that critical assistance without any delay at all.
CIA Director William Burns is in Egypt working with Israel and Hamas as they continue to negotiate a potential ceasefire in Gaza. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
Israel confirmed that it has sent a diplomatic team to Cairo to continue ceasefire negotiations even as its military operations ramp up. Authorities in the U.S., U.K., and Australia have announced criminal charges against a Russian accused of being the mastermind of a cyber criminal group. Dmitry Yuryevich Koroshev reportedly created malicious software and led Lockbit, an organization many tech experts call the most prolific ransomware group on the globe. Authorities say Lockbit had hacked hospitals, schools, and law enforcement agencies, resulting in the loss of hundreds of millions of dollars. Police in Toronto are investigating a shooting that happened outside the home of rap superstar Drake this morning. It's unclear if Drake was home at the time of the shooting, which left a security worker with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Authorities say the man was working outside the gate at the home when he was shot. An aerial view shows yellow police tape in the home's courtyard and investigators canvassing the scene.
When officers arrived, they located a male who was suffering from an apparent gunshot wound. That person was working apparently as a security guard at the residence. He was standing outside of the gates in front of the residence when the shooting occurred.
The man that was shot remains hospitalized in serious condition. The woman at the center of Donald Trump's criminal trial in New York took the witness stand today. CBS's Michael George has more about the key testimony.
Former President Donald Trump's attorney asked for a mistrial, calling Tuesday's testimony from adult film star Stormy Daniels extraordinarily prejudicial. The judge denied the request, but did agree some things were better left unsaid. Daniels recalled meeting the former president in his hotel suite in Lake Tahoe in 2006. She testified they spoke for 2 hours, including a mention of Melania Trump. And Daniels said when she came out of the bathroom, the former president was on the bed wearing boxers and a T-shirt. She told the court they ultimately had sex, and she took a cab back to her hotel, telling very few people what had happened.
A few things the prosecution has brought out is that he never asked her to keep quiet about this. He never asked her to keep it from his wife, and these are things that the defense will want to raise later.
Trump denies the alleged encounter.
The prosecution has to establish that the former president had an incentive to cover up these payments to Stormy Daniels, to make the payments and cover it up. And in order to do that, the prosecution has to show that she would have been a compelling figure had she told this story right before the election.
On the stand, Daniels detailed the financial arrangement, testifying she signed a contract in exchange for her silence, and the $130,000 payment was late. Earlier, Trump called the criminal trial unfair and said there's no smoking gun.
That's what they're trying to get us on, the fact that we call a legal expense a legal expense.
Trump also railed against the judge's gag order on his way into court, calling it unconstitutional, but made no mention of Daniels by name.
Now, in another matter we've just learned involving former President Trump, a federal judge in Florida has indefinitely postponed the trial in his classified documents case. Meanwhile, the former president put up, then deleted, a social media post about an upcoming witness in his hush money trial. On his Truth social platform, he wrote he was just told who the witness is today. Trump complained that it's unprecedented and there's no time for lawyers to prepare. He did not name the witness. It's not clear why the post was taken down. TikTok is pushing back against a law that could ban the app in the U.S. TikTok's Chinese parent company, ByteDance, filed a petition claiming that the law is unconstitutional. The company says the law blocks free speech and prevents users from accessing lawful information. This comes after President Biden signed the legislation last month that would ban the social media platform in the U.S. entirely, unless the company sells it to a non-Chinese entity by January 2025. A federal judge smacked down threats by Alabama's Republican Attorney General to prosecute groups that help women obtain out-of-state abortions. Some of those groups sued Attorney General Steve Marshall after he suggested prosecuting groups that, quote, aid and abet abortions, including those who help women travel out of state. This comes as red states have banned or severely limited access to the procedure since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. The Boy Scouts of America will soon be known as just Scouting America. The name change will go into effect February 8th of next year for the organization's 115th anniversary. The youth organization says the change is meant to make everyone feel welcome, but the Scouts' mission remains the same, teaching young people to be prepared for life. The organization first allowed girls into Cub Scouts in 2018 and then into the flagship program 1 year later. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, it's that time of year, wedding season, ways to save money, whether you are going to a wedding or the one saying I do.
And a first alert weather day continues through midweek. Your forecast coming up after this break.